How's it going, people? Welcome back to Casual Gamer Reviews. Today I'll be looking at Metahor Fantazio, developed by Studio Zero, a studio under Atlas that consists of the devs from Persona 3, 4 and 5. It took me 85 hours to complete this game, so more or less in line with the Persona titles. Reviewed on Xbox Series X. As you'd expect from this team, there are many gameplay mechanics involved here, but they all come together as a cohesive unit to make a really satisfying gameplay loop. Firstly, looking at the combat. In Metahor, you fight using your archetypes. These are very much like a Persona, except they are unlocked primarily through leveling up social links. There is no catch-em-all mechanic like in Persona 5, so it makes it easier to obtain them all. Also new in Metahor is that any member of your party can use any archetype. You can explore new powers and anything that suits your team makeup the most. Leveling up archetypes can lead to more skills unlocked and also higher tiers of that family of archetypes. Each of your team will have their skill makeup predefined, so there will be some who are more physically focused and some that are more magically focused, so it would be beneficial to give them archetypes that match this, although it is not locked in if you don't like this idea. The freedom is there for you. The combat is turn-based for the most part, but there is also some overworld combat. You get a simple light attack and a dodge roll. If the enemy is weak enough, you can defeat it without going into turn-based, but if it is stronger, you can use this overworld combat to stun them before engaging, which is absolutely crucial. Fights that begin with you being ambushed are always life-threatening. This game does not mess about. Once in turn-based, you have the usual tropes of using an archetype power, a normal weaker attack with your equipped weapon, a block, using an item, or changing tactics. This game uses a front and back system where you want your more sturdy members at the front and your support and magic casters at the back as they take less damage. The most interesting addition is the synergy abilities that takes a new turn on the team moves from Persona 5. These combine two members of the team with a special powerful attack that can be used at any time as long as both parties have enough MP and you have enough turn icons, as they consume 2 turn icons, sometimes 3. The weak system is back in play, where you can get a turn icon back if you hit an enemy's weakness or hit a critical. The same works the other way though, so this is something that the enemy can take advantage of too. This makes combat sing as you whip between your party members, hitting different weaknesses until the enemies are defeated, something Persona players will be very used to. The archetypes themselves were really great to use, and the ease of switching between them to try something new for any party member was really engaging to mix the game up. There is also a small thing in each dungeon where you can press a button that brings up a window to show you what other people had as their party compositions when they completed the dungeon. This could be helpful if you are struggling. Moving on to the general gameplay loop, the calendar system is back in action. You will be given a mission to complete and X amount of days to complete it. Outside of the actual mission itself, the remaining days you can use to level up your social bonds or your royal virtues, or you can go on bounties to strengthen up by running dungeons or side quests. Each activity will advance you from day to night, and then night itself you can also do an activity of your choice. If you choose a dungeon though, it will advance the whole day, so will not be split into afternoon and evening. In previous Persona games, this calendar mechanic can feel restrictive, and you can almost feel overwhelmed about what the right activity is to do that day. In Metahor, this is a lot more refined, and I actually maxed all social links and all virtues with a few days to spare at the end of the game without following a guide. Leveling up your social links are essential to unlocking new archetypes, and the virtues are essential for dialogue options you will need to unlock higher social link bonds. You can see here how everything starts to mesh together. A little bit later in the game you get a gauntlet runner, which you use to travel to new cities and also to travel out to dungeons. On this gauntlet runner, when you are traveling you can also level up your social ranks and your virtues, but also things such as leveling up MP, HP, cooking, growing plants, etc. to give you boosts in battle. The art style of Metahor is absolutely exceptional. The character designs are dripping with individuality, the monster designs are jaw-dropping, shout out to the boss in Martyra Dungeon, the menus are insanely cool, even the loading screen transitions are awesome. Sometimes when traveling out with the runner, you will stop at a point of interest where you get a little dialogue and some incredible view of a landscape. This at times can be breathtaking. The only downside I would say is that the dungeon designs are reused, which I understand, but sometimes they can be a bit bland. The main story dungeons themselves are unique and have stellar designs for the most part, but I am specifically talking about the side dungeons here. You are either running a desert, a forest, a cave, or a tower, which look the same but have different floor layouts to get to the dungeon boss. Also, naturally with a game of this length you will start to encounter the same enemy designs, and though I didn't find it too intrusive, there were a handful of dungeons that I did roll my eyes about dealing with another wave of dogs or skeletons. The audio and music in this game is exceptional. I played in English and I thought the voice acting was some of the best I've ever heard. It is also nice to have a voiced protagonist in this game. The music is next to none also. There are a few clips doing the rounds online already, but even the main battle theme is an absolute tune. This will be a soundtrack for the ages. Shoji Meguro returns as the composer, so if you like Persona and Shin Megami Tensei music, you will also like this. I think it may even be better though. Metahor Fantazio tells a very political and compelling story. Being as spoiler-free as I can, it revolves around a race for the next king. You play as one of the contenders for the throne, and you go on a journey to gain support. The story does not hide its main villain, and you are shown in the cutscene before even starting the game what kind of man this guy is. Your goal is always clear, but do not get me wrong, there are many twists and turns that happen over the course of the 85 or so hours. The game has very interesting moral reflection points that make you look critically at our real world today. It has big messages to say about racism and religion, and some might think this is a tightrope to walk, but I think it walks it admirably. Equality is something you fight for in this game, and that certainly resonates with me. The story itself is very gripping, and at several points my jaw was wide open, and at other points I was punching the air. The pacing is brilliant and really connects you with the important characters around you. By the end, you really care for each of your team, and that makes it so much sweeter. Each of the social link stories are great, none of them felt pointless, and while some are better than others, they all had meaningful journeys with satisfying conclusions. Outside of the cosmetic packs, as far as I know, there is no DLC planned for Metahor, but there are many hours of content already here. There is a New Game Plus feature which has a secret boss in it, but I don't think there is too much else outside of this. I wouldn't put it past Atlus to give it the royal treatment somewhere down the line though. Studio Zero and Atlus were absolutely cooking with Metahor Fantazio. This is currently my favourite game this year, and the only faults I can place on it is the bland side dungeon design and sometimes overuse of copied enemy designs. Metahor Fantazio gets a casual gamer score of 9.5 out of 10. If you enjoy this content, please consider leaving a like and subscribe, and for everything casual gamer, keep it here. Peace and love.